So in this video, we're going to talk about getting in touch with your emotions for communication, for talking, for having longer conversations. You see, in a recent video I just did, I was talking specifically about how logic doesn't seduce a woman. You got to be in relationship to your emotions. Well, how do you do that? How do you get into relationship to your emotions when you're a highly logical person? See, I used to be a super logical person. I used to get teased for it a lot. I analyzed everything. I thought about everything. I was a huge data collector. What I mean by that is I was constantly reading the next book, looking for the new piece of information so I could analyze it, so I could break it down and turn it into some technique that I would use to get the girl or get the money or get the success or whatever I was trying to work on. And the truth is that just plain doesn't work. Data is great. It's great to have data. It's great to use data. But data has to be used in relationship to feeling emotion. Think about this for a minute. Human beings are emotional creatures by nature. We're constantly searching for more emotion. That's why we go to movies. That's why we look at art. That's why we listen to music. It's to feel different aspects of motivation different aspects of emotion, from being sad to happy, and the whole range in between. Sometimes women go see a sad movie so they can cry and talk about how great it is. Sometimes women go see, or men go see an action movie so they can feel excited and powerful. And we're all chasing that next feeling, or that feeling that we're kind of missing in our life at that time, or the emotion that we're repressing. So when you're going out to meet women, avoiding emotion and speaking from logic is one of the worst things you can do, because it kills all the fun. It makes it boring. Think about being in a courtroom and listening to them present the data. You know, I'm going to logically present my case. Well, how excited do you get to watch court cases? Well, and with that said, I'm going to say there are some attorneys that have a flair for presenting the data with a certain emotional intrigue to make it interesting. But what I'm talking about in general is if you're in like a traffic court case and they're presenting the evidence clinically, it's kind of boring, isn't it? It's really not very exciting. And that's what a lot of you guys do. You go out and neuter conversations with no emotion by taking the emotion out. So what we're going to look at now is how to increase the emotion in your body. And the number one thing you got to do is get into your body and get out of your head. Most of you guys take most of the energy that's in your body. Imagine there's like 100 circuits running in your head. It's 100 circuits of energy just running through your body. And you take most of it and you use it to think. Imagine this is a hard drive and it starts spinning faster and faster and faster. And you keep taking all those circuits and you're putting it into the hard drive to try to figure something out. And now you've got just a few left running the body. And so you got all this data up here that you can access in a moment's notice. You've memorized this, thought about this, analyzed this, you're referencing this book, you're referencing that piece of data. But down here, where all the emotion is stored through the nervous system of the body, through the emotions and the chemicals that run through the body, you're not very aware. You've pulled all the energy out of that. And that's the problem in and of itself. Guys that are good with women don't do that. They tend to feel more of their body. They feel more of what's in their heart, their sense of vulnerability. They feel more of what's in their gut, their ability to make gut instincts and to feel their sense of self-esteem. They feel more of what's down low, their turn on and their arousal. And they let her see it and they let her experience it. It becomes more of a sense of a dance back and forth between you and her. She gets excited and she shares a moment when she was really happy, and maybe you share a moment when you're really happy. And then maybe in response to that, you get more curious about her and she feels that curiosity in your body. And then she gets more curious about you in response. And then suddenly you start to get turned on and she feels you're turned on and she gets turned on in response. See, we're relating and matching back and forth all the time. So how do we do this? How do we get more in touch with our body when we're really stuck in our head? Well, one of the things that we just don't think about was meant and designed to do this is yoga. Yoga was originally designed to build a relationship to your body. It's not about fitness and it's not about stretching. It's about feeling. And it's not about depth of stretch. It's about feeling into the body with these different movements and building a relationship to how the body feels, which then connects you more to your emotions. But unfortunately, most yoga schools don't teach it that way anymore. They teach it as exercise or stretching or something like that. So if you're going to get into yoga, I highly recommend you look for a teacher that really gets this principle and that is really trying to teach you to build a relationship to your body again. But yoga is just one example. In my opinion, there's many ways to get back in your body. As long as you find a teacher that's got a good emotional relationship to his body, you're going to learn a lot. You could study Qigong, you could study Tai Chi, you could study Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for guys that need to get more grounded and more masculine. That's another great way to go. Here at Fearless, if you ever come to one of our live events, we do a lot of work teaching you to feel your body by doing work directly with beautiful women in gazing, eye-gazing, touch, movement situations where we're teaching you to relate to them from your body. And so movement exercises in your body, if you can find any movement programs like Feldenkrais and so forth. What we do here is we have a whole slew of movement exercises that are designed to build a relationship to your nervous system and your whole body so you can relate and communicate better. And then we have a whole slew of exercises to teach you to communicate back and forth from them. Unfortunately, I don't see that a lot of places. Otherwise, I'd recommend it. Other things that might be good could be acting classes. If you find a good acting teacher that really understands how to be in feeling and relate and connect and share emotions back and forth. Maybe comedy classes and stand-up classes. But this stuff, what it's designed to do is get you out of your head and get you emoting from a more emotional place. This is a large reason why in high school and in college the jock gets the girl. The jock gets the girl because the jock feels so much emotion and isn't afraid to feel emotion because he spent a lot of his childhood learning to relate to his body. Whereas the nerd doesn't get the girl because he's relating from his head. And the artist too, think of the artist. The artist again is learning to express art through his body. And the nerd is again not doing that. So I'm seeing more and more nerds today that are kind of artist-athlete hybrids. Nerd is becoming cool, and as it becomes cool, you're seeing more and more people that are starting to play with this whole geek chic idea, which then becomes a form of artwork in itself, and that geek becomes attractive to women because, you know, by nature he can probably feel more, but don't think that that's always the case. So I want you to kind of play with this idea. I want you to sit with it. I want you to think, what could I do to start to relate to my emotions more? And one obvious one that I haven't mentioned yet, I talked about yoga, I talked about getting into your body, I talked about movement, but is meditation. Simple meditation, not transcendental where you leave your body, but one where you actually practice just sitting and feeling your body more. You could be watching your breath, feeling your body. You could be doing like Eckhart Tolle from the Power of Now type meditations where you're just feeling into deeper parts of the body, this leg, this arm, a little bit more each time you go. And as you do that, as you develop a deeper relationship to your body, and then you start getting comfortable being down in your body in front of people, then you're going to find that it becomes easier and easier to have communications where you have actual emotions and feelings. So another one is, I'm going to go back up a little bit here. So another one is feeling down into your body, like an Eckhart Tolle type meditation, where you actually feel down into the different parts of the body, the gut, the legs, the arms, and you're actually just sitting there meditating on what do they feel like, what emotions are coming up, and learning to accept those emotions. And Eckhart Tolle wrote the book, The Power of Now, which I think is a powerful book for learning to feel your body. And the next step on that, if you want to take it a step further, is start to practice that meditation in a nice, secure, private place, but then eventually start taking it outdoors. Once you can do it pretty well, go sit in a park and do it. Then eventually go sit in a coffee shop and practice for 10 minutes meditating, just feeling all the people around you. Go sit in a slightly noisier environment. I've done it all the way up to where back in the early days when I was more nervous about going to bars and I held a lot of anxiety, I would just go sit in the bar and relax and practice feeling my body. And it took about a week of doing that, not trying to hit on anybody, just getting comfortable, and suddenly all the anxiety just left. And I felt really comfortable sitting in that bar. So learning to feel down into the body is building a relationship to your emotions. Then number two is learning to express those emotions to somebody else while staying in your body, not coming up. So when you start to express to somebody else, you should be playing with a sense of vulnerability. There's a sense of maybe nervous energy or vulnerability you experience when you first do it. And the vulnerability is the expression of emotion, where you actually feel curiosity, you actually feel appreciation, you actually feel your doubt and worry, and you feel happiness and joy, and you convey this to people. And that's what makes you interesting, just like a good book. You don't just convey it in words, you convey it in the actual feeling being transmitted through the words. Like telling a girl, looking at her, feeling really excited, and saying, I like you, because you can feel that in your body. And then she feels that. It goes right into her, and she's like, ooh, interesting. Not only can he feel turned on when he looks at me, he's not afraid to show it to me, which then exudes confidence. So I want you to invite you to look at communication in a different way. Look at communication with women in a different way, and start learning to relate to your emotions more. Try taking an acting class. Try taking some movement classes where you start to develop a relationship to your body. Get in here and check out one of our programs if that's something you want to do over at The Fearless Man, because that's specifically what we teach, is how to get in relationship to those emotions and get you emoting them confidently and in a fun way, in a way that you enjoy versus a have to. Because a lot of guys, when they first go in there, it's like a struggle. I have to express these emotions. What you really want is a sense of, I get to, this is gonna be fun. I get to be turned on tonight. I get to enjoy her. And that's when the game really changes for you. So get in here, make sure to check out thefearlessman.com for our next event if you wanna learn more about how we do it. Make sure to check out meditation, yoga, different things like this if you wanna try that out first. And make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Make sure to comment below. I wanna hear your comments. And I also want to hear what you want to learn more about, because that's what this channel's here. That's what this channel is for. It's to help you change your life. And remember, only the confident really live. See you in the next video. What is a third stage man, for those of you that don't know? In David Data's work, and I think David Data is very brilliant at what he does, he loves to talk about the 3 stages of development of men and women. And what Fearless is about is helping men, therapist, or somebody that can help guide you out of this process. You might actually have some form of clinical depression, which should be looked at, so make sure you check that out. Now, if you want some basic steps to get you out of it, I'm gonna go over that right now. Number 1, make sure you make a choice that you do want to get out of this. This isn't something you're